whereas we see a lot of focus
they sent
on
5 members. 5 members deep for that trinket ward on the chickens, and it does look like from pings that CUDDERS Cuties are aware of that ward. So
it's such a typical ward nowadays. You know, everyone places it. We do see Xerath doubling up on it. So I don't know if they fully know it.
No, I don't think they know that's warded. I think they assume they're getting counter jungled. But they should know, considering obviously C8 Big Nonce just placed a ward on the red buff and also saw Hecarim in the process, that they are definitely both starting on the bot side. It was a nice little trade there for the Xerath.
A good early trade for him. I mean, it's exactly what he wants to be doing, getting those stacks up. Meanwhile, we do see this Gnar trading well against this Volibear, standing outside of the E. I mean, but then the Volibear just does Volibear things in the end.
At level 1, so much damage for the Volibear is wrapped up in his E. It hurts a ton and it shields him a ton. So to be able to dodge it is actually really important for this Gnar. And we can see just the passive from the Volibear as well. It's going to make it so that he's naturally up in CS. But I think we'll see how that lane shakes up in a few minutes, because I think that will be more telling for the Gnar than how it is right this second, you know? But I agree with you, though. You were talking about how the mid lane matchup, the early trading is going. I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll say it again. The Victor Q makes trading with him in the early game so difficult, because not only does it deal a decent amount of damage, it also gives him a shield that makes it harder for you to trade into him. So if he's the person proactively choosing to trade, you're already at a disadvantage, because he's now technically got more health for that trade, you know? And so it does make life really difficult.
Big thing to notice in this mid lane, as much as Victor is slightly down in HP, but there's not much in it, look at the mana box. The Xerath is having so much more to trade with this Victor, and he's not even up in CS. And I mean, Veil's going for the kill, and he gets it! Lucas looking to trade back in the top lane. Yeah, Lucas looking to trade back this Gnar, but Gnar's nowhere near Gnar bar. And we're going to back off.
Okay, so we do see the Kayn, though. Yeah, I think this is a dangerous... Nah, this is a dangerous place to be.
He just gets caught. He just gets caught with it. He's going to get... Oh, that is so unfortunate for Gnar. Almost picking up a kill on the Volibear there.
Yeah, I think he played that incorrectly. I don't think there was a world where he got a kill there. He brought it kind of close, I'll say that much, but I think it was ambitious to begin with. I think he should have, as soon as he saw the Kayn, he should have started pathing towards his base. Because even though he was close to the Mega Gnar, oh yeah, we can see. There's a nice flash kill here by Veil. And honestly, what you want to see...
Yeah, Gnar, just before he goes into Mega Gnar, he gets clipped by the Volibear E. Literally by the tail. Had he missed that, Volibear's dead.
You're not wrong, but I still think it's super ambitious. And we're going to see there's going to be a... Yeah, I think we're going to probably see that... I don't know. We can see the build is already different here for the Volibear. Volibear has started with a recurve bow, so he's going for a more aggressive kind of build. From the last game. We saw him start with the Spirit Visage in game 1. So, ooh, we got a little runes and mastery set up now. Okay. Damn, son. Look at that. But yeah, here we do see Mr. Callisti going to jump here onto the Gnar and take half his health bar with ease. He is almost dead here. If he gets a W off, he's gone.
Gnar was trying to trade back, almost got into Mega Gnar. The Gnar bar is full. But he literally lives on a blinking health bar. Yeah, we do see Perfect Form go into his Mega Form.
It's unfortunate there, but again, I think this is all kind of ramifications from him having lost that initial 2v1. You know, like he's perpetually set behind. Like he's had to go for a longsword and a dagger versus the recurve. Though that extra attack speed on the Volibear is going to be really nice. We can see the Milio is moving up here. We are going to have a fight around these grubs that spawn in about 8 seconds. Unfortunately, MOTOROLA Esports are down a man though. No, actually, no, that's the 4v4.
Nice combo from the Carmen. Actually, I mean, Gnar's got to be careful here. He doesn't have the Gnar bar up. We do see Victor looking in, and they're gonna push the Cuties off the grubs. While
This is
Hecarim
huge.
starts it. And yeah, this is big for MOTOROLA. This is what I want to see. We do see Kane. He's just going to concede it. And they'll turn their attention towards the Drake. But moving this Melio up and not getting these grubs, that feels bad if you're the side of the Cuties.
Yeah, I think they equally committed members, right? They both sent 4 up. But I think Motorola were just a little bit closer to the, they were a little bit faster to the punch. And so, even though they didn't have the Mega Gnar, which, you would assume might have been kind of a deal breaker on whether or not they could take that 4v4, just because they got there first and they had a little bit more control. Kane is probably weaker than the Hecarim at this point in the game as well. So if they do get into a skirmish, knowing it's just normal Kane, conceding those grubs, I think he's fine. He's still got his E. So he can get away.
It's not just the fact that Hecarim's stronger. Look at the farming lead and notice how long it took that Kane to get out of base after he based. Hecarim managed to get the grubs, get to his raptors, and then farm his Krugs. And Kane is only just now starting this dragon, and Hecarim is in position.
Yeah. Fortunately, though, for him, it is a tale very similar to what we just saw around the grubs. The CUDDERS cuties this time are the people with the man advantage on the objective, and so it looks like
they're not going to get forced out. Yeah, Kane has to flash out. The artillery comes into the back line. Kane goes inside him, but Cookie picks them up. This Varus that I said wasn't having fun will pick up a double kill, and they will get the feat of warfare in contrast to game 1.
Yeah, this is looking way more comfortable for the side of MOTOROLA Esports. We might actually have a series on our hands. Like, I think, again, from the draft perspective, we mentioned it in draft, where the Gnar here can just do the 1v1 island situation. They don't need to send Hecarim topside. They can just leave Gnar. Gnar can do his thing. He's currently only a little bit behind, but he's still going to be relevant in the team fight. So that's kind of where you want to be if you're going to continue to give Mr. Clisty his kind of tried and true main champion. And here, as we cut to the replay, we can see it's a really confident engage by Motorola.
Yeah, Motorola just look like when it comes to these counter engages, they're just like, you can start an objective, that's fine. We will finish it for you. Thank you for the leash. Because every time we've seen the last 2 objectives, they were not the first on these objectives. They walked up. They let CUDDERS cuties get into the pit, and the Hecarim walks up. The Varus, obviously, he wasn't up at Grubs, but he had a big play there. The Gnar walks down, and they just can't contest. Hecarim's not got any kills. He is up in assists. He's up in jungle farm, and I expect he's got a lot of gold sitting in his back pocket right now.
Yeah, I mean, if we see the just the pet charges, right? It's 13 on Hecarim versus 20 on the Kane. So that doesn't expressly mean that he's farmed 7 more camps, but it does mean that he has been much more on farming the camps. And this is a stark difference to what we saw in game 1. Game 1, he was, at this point in the game, the Kane was already about 30 CS up on him. Meanwhile, he was, again, trying a 3rd or 4th gank top that just didn't work out. And I'm really happy to see the adaptation here by Motorola. They are putting in a much more convincing showing in this game, especially in the mid and bot lane right now. I think that Cookie is making this Varus look much more convincing in game 2. And in the mid lane, Vrail is, we saw him get the solo kill. It seems like with the proactivity or the go button off of Turkey Flaps on his Diana, he's really struggling to finish kills, It's not like he's struggling to get the damage out. We've seen Vrail be on about 10% HP most of the game, but they just can't finish them, And now we have a 3-man commit top.
Yeah, we just see Hecarim coming in, knocks Volibear out of harm's way. Gnar says, I'm going to try and take it anyway. Takes some tower shots. Kane is also being forced out of the back of the pit. Volibear can't contest. He has to back.
Yeah. Volibear does have TP though, so he can get here. He can be here for the next fight.
What looked like an early start, we do see the Volibear TP coming in. But what looked like an easy start to the ground. But look at the health bar on the Volibear just disappear again. He does get the stun onto the mini Gnar. We do see the artillery coming out, but it's missing everyone. Meanwhile, the Melio gets knocked back by the Hecarim, who did claim one of the grubs. And here, oh my god, Motorola, you guys are here You guys smell the money, and they are going to clean up the feet of the objectives, and they will claim the new pair of sandals. Oh no, they don't! The steal comes in.
Got some
At the
life
expense
there.
of this kid. This is a much closer game here.
Yeah, this game is much closer. Obviously, we can see a little over 1.5k gold lead in the side of MOTOROLA esports, but you know, it is a stark difference between what we saw in game one. In game one, at this point, it was already looking kind of bleak. Turkey Flaps is getting a good little trade here onto Vrail, but I don't think it's going to actually convert into a kill. And he is going to get away with that base there. 1-0-4 right now on this Victor with a little over 100 gold for himself in that gold difference. But the main difference we can see here is the 1,000 gold in the bot lane.
That's exactly what I was about to say. We've got 1.8k, but grand's in the bottom. We see here this engage, obviously, the death out's coming out, but it's just not. It didn't latch on. Meanwhile, counter engage you have from this side of MOTOROLA. I mean, Volibear walks up, but eats the Shadow Riders, and this unkillable Volibear that we've seen in pretty much every game since literally got blown up.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a nice steal from the game.
He just couldn't really have an impact in the fight. He died before he could even do anything, and so, you know, it's quite a hard situation. Yeah, literally. And we can see his build right now. It looks like, is that, I'm assuming that's a Nash's tooth, right?
Yeah, that looks like a Nash's tooth to me.
Yeah, so he is going for the damage build.
I mean, you kind of need to do that into this now, because you can't build defensive, because now will just burn you down with a black leader. But we see here again, side of the cuties are on the objective first. A mismatch jumping right on the back line. We do see Kane going inside him, but Tom will just fall. This Seville we were praising for having a great game one. It's just not having the same things. Meanwhile, Cookie has decided he wants to come to the party, and this Cookie is crumbling. But it's the Cudders Cuties who are the ones falling apart.
No, yeah, the Cookie's Varus is way more convincing in this game than it was in the last one, honestly. Considering he still hasn't even finished his first item, he's 1.4k gold in the lead, but he's prioritized getting his Berserker Grooves over finishing what I believe is going to be a Blade of the Ruin King. So once he gets that first item Power Spike, he's going to be really difficult to deal with. And if the team can play around him, again, as we mentioned in Champion Select, I think it's going to be a much different game. They picked it first, they prioritized it over anything else, and this is why they did it, clearly. This performance that he's putting in right now is exactly why.
I mean, this is just the exact same story from the last Dragon. You get the pincer angle, they get nowhere to escape. It is so synchronized from Motorola. Like, you could have called it coming, and I imagine on the next streak, we'll see the exact same thing. They're going to come from both sides, and it's going to repeat. Now, we've got to see if the Cuties can adapt to that. But right now, the only team we're driving for is Motorola. 5 grubs, 2 dragons, 7 kills to 3. Solid 3 grand up, and the only lane with a lead is an 80 gold lead, which is going to fall in a matter of seconds, and that's for the Volibear.
Well, I mean, we do see Rust here potentially going to try and make something happen onto perfect form. 2-man ult is going to knock him down. He's going to have to burn flash to get himself out. Turkey Flaps is here, though. They might try and commit further, see if they can turn this into a kill. They probably can. And that is... Oh, Vrail, no, you're in the wrong place right now. He's going to have to flash to see if he can get himself out, but he's not getting out. And that's a bad shutdown going over to the Cuties. And that was just... I think that was just a wrong judgment there by Motorola. You know, again, we see Perfect Form kind of caught out a little bit. Maybe a little bit of over-aggression on himself. He's 0-3 right now, having a bit of a hard game, I think. And Vrail was trying to make something happen for him, but that's just going to cost them so much of the gold lead they built over the last 15 minutes. You know, they were about 3k gold lead up, and now it's only 1k.
I mean, we see here, I mean, at first it's fine, yeah, he jumps out, he gets out. I mean, this Volibear will be wide. The big thing was, he gets, I don't know if that was a misclick, but he just stops. And that's what lets them all come back in. Otherwise, he probably gets out to his tower. And then this Vector tries to come up to assist, follow Seraph, but there's just not much you can do. Has to walk back towards them to avoid the volley bear E, and it's just a really awkward situation. That brings the gold back. Still not enough to keep leaving, and we are just going to see them take the Rift Herald here. Completely box vision.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in this instance, it doesn't seem like the Cuties are really in a position to contest it. We can see that the Milio is here. He sees it happening, but his team aren't nearby, so they can't really contest, and it is going to just be a freebie over to the side of Motorola Esports. But we'll have to see what they can do with it, though, because in my opinion, that's the important thing. The Rift Herald is one of those incredibly swingy objectives where, like, sometimes you get it, it doesn't get used, and then it times out and it does nothing. Other times, people can use it to crack all the way towards inhibitors, you know? At the right time, if you use it, you know, in the right circumstances, it can make a massive gold swing. But we will have to see whether or not they can make that work for them.
It is always something I'd much rather have in my back pocket than not. Especially when you've got the 5 drops. Like, the pushing power you can get from that, if you play it right, is huge. I would like to see it used in this mid lane and just run it down Broadway, because you've already got a lead, a very minor one, but a minor lead on a Victor is huge. Meanwhile, we see mismatch going in onto Luca. Nart is here and is charged up, but unfortunately Luca just gets too far close to the tower and Hecarim can't follow up.
Yeah, it is unfortunate there, but again, I would like to point out that this is a stark difference in the performance of Mismatch. So I think I was very critical of him in game 1. And in game 2, it's actually been the complete difference, right? Like, even though the gold lead is the same, he now has a 43 CS lead. He's equal on items with the Kayn. They've had similar levels of presence, so 204 versus 332. And one thing also, we did see it in the replay around that second dragon fight. Knowing when to hold the trigger on the ultimate of the Hecarim was actually really impressive. So when he went in and he was surrounded by 3 members, and he held off for like 5 seconds or so until the Kayn came out of him from his ultimate, and that's when he ultimated, and that's when he was able to take out Tom, and his team just swept in to take the rest of the fight. And honestly, like I said, I think it's been a stark difference between game 1 and 2 for Mismatch.
Now let's see if the Cuties have learned, because last 2 times they've started the dragon thing, well, I mean, we're not going to get one who gets stunned. The fight starts, Perfect Bomb has to flash, jump away. Shelly is in the mid lane, and the Cuties have control. The Xerath artillery does come in, barely scratches the skin on this Hecarim. However, he will get knocked up, and Mismatch will have to use his ult to get away. The Volibear up does come in. We do see Tom getting the shutdown onto Mismatch. Can the MOTOROLA Esports turn it around? No, they can. The Victor will fall, and that will be their first dragon over to the Cuties, and the gold is even. It's all on this
super rough. Yeah, I think the Cuties are just out team fighting them, just like completely. We keep seeing that's like the second time we've seen Braille get caught out in a kind of high pressure situation. He's having a really hard time getting into these fights without getting completely caught out and punished. Obviously, the enemy team have quite a few ways to lock someone down. They've got the Volibear Q. They've got the stun by Xerath. They've got the knockback by Milio. There are a few ways for them, or even as we just saw, Ross W as well. And they can just chase them down. We see the Sivir gets it with the ricochet there. And the damage is just really high. And meanwhile, Braille just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Enemy team had vision of him, and he got smoked.
That was all starting with a beautiful football from Emilio. Meanwhile, we do see Perfect Bomb. We'll just clean up that tower. But yeah, that whole fight started just that knockup, allowing them to jump right on Hecarim. There's not much you can do in that situation. We do see that again spawning.
Unfortunately, I think they were just a little bit too aggressively positioned, not quite respecting the damage that the Cuties have at this point in the game. You know, there was a lead, but unfortunately that lead has been diminished here. And in terms of just sheer items, in fact, actually there is an item lead in several places. Well, actually, no, sorry, in one place, in the jungle. We can see Braille here being caught out by the Volibear. Volibear's still full HP. Ultimate's going to come out to scare him away. It is actually going to work. So the Victor is winning this trade right now, surprisingly.
I think this Victor Volibear matchup is fine as long as you don't allow this Volibear to get in range, which he does.
Yeah.
Rare will decide to go back in. He sends an opportunity with the cooldowns being down. He has got a wave. Volibear will look to jump in, but here comes Hecarim to claim the counter kill onto Luca. And that is a shutdown back onto the Hecarim. And the gold lead will swing again in the jungle. But
meanwhile, you know, Mismatch shows up in the bot lane. And don't get me wrong, I can't fault him for that play because he actually turned what was just unironically just a complete like loss for MOTOROLA esports. They were able to turn it in. He does.
And, I mean,
could try to play in.
And this is the biggest part about these attacks, as we already know. A lot from what we've seen in the past does bring your MR. So Mismatch jumps in, will try and get out, and will get out. Still Lesbian, double stop! Oh the no! Oh my god, Ivory gets shut down. So does Tom. And this Atakan will look to reset. That was huge and perfect for him. He goes back into mini, tries to turn it on the Kane. But that is exactly what you wanted. If you're the side of MOTOROLA, you gotta play bot. You look to just try and disrupt this Atakan. Yeah. And it works.
Yeah, I think so initially on this play I was saying like you can't really blame Mismatch for where he is because he's able to turn what was a bad play by Braille, a little bit of overconfidence on the Victor there. He tanks a turret shot that he probably shouldn't have taken, and CUDDERS Cuties here are able to immediately pull the trigger on the Atakan. And I think unfortunately they just don't account for the movement speed on the Hecarim, who crosses the map cross-country to get there real quick.
Quite surprised at the speed that CUDDERS Cuties do this Atakan, because that was really with the strategy.
I mean, I think the play wasn't inherently bad.
Oh,
but
no,
this is
I
a
agree
huge
That's huge on the gnar. I mean, that cleans up too. The shutdown did go on to the Xerath, but yeah, I mean, Cookie gives his life, but he picks up 2 at the same time, and I think it does end up just being a 2 for 2, yeah. But it stops the Atakan, and it won't be the last fight we see on this.
No,
a minute away
it
from
won't be the last one. Yeah.
Now here's the question, right?
I'll go for it.
Do you trade the Drake for the Atakan or the Baron, or do you just?
I think you prioritize the Atakan in this instance because neither team is close to Soul Point. You know, they both only have 1 dragon. It's not super important right now. Meanwhile, and it's also an Ocean Soul, which, I mean, Ocean Soul is arguably better for the side of CUDDERS Cuties than it is for the side of MOTOROLA. It's not bad on anybody, but with the Kane, who's going to be really heal-centric, and the Volibear, who's also really heal-centric, having the increased healing and the increased health per second is going to be really sweet for them. And we can see, though, it looks like neither team is going to prioritize that dragon that's coming up in 10 seconds. And instead, we've got 4 members in and around that Atakan on both teams. Pins are coming out, though.
The problem is, with this kind of Atakan, neither team really wants status. Because a lot of you...
Okay. Volibear might be soloing? No, he's not. Never mind.
They know the side of MOTOROLA are down here. I think that play was
just going to be a trade.
Yeah. I actually don't mind this. So the reason I don't mind this is MOTOROLA, all they're giving away is that one-time revamp. This isn't a flowers. This isn't the 25% boost on objectives. It is the one-time revive, which is not a good thing you want to be giving away, ideally. Put yourself on Soul Point, which they do. And because they pulled so many members down,
they're not on Soul Point. They only have 2 Drakes.
They got 2 Drakes?
Yeah, they're only on 2 Drakes. It's not Soul Point. I'm not 100% sure what that icon is on the overlay, but it is not a Drake.
It's a Chem Drake. Because they managed to get the first 2. Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, and we are back into game.
Are we back? Oh, let's go.
We were back where we are. We do see that Atakan finally fall for the Cuties. I'm trying to work out if we had any kills. All I know is we do now have a gold lead for the side of the Cuties. As we're far across the screen, nothing's happening. We do see Volibear on the bot side.
Yeah, that's a super interesting tier 3 bot turret for CUDDERS Cuties, but you know, Either way, let's quickly reacquaint ourselves with how the map is looking right now, because it's been a minute, and I'm sure the fans have forgotten. So we currently have a 1k gold lead for the Cuties. A tumultuous lead, in fact, because they did start about 3k down. But, you know, if we just quickly look lane to lane, we can see there's about 1k gold in the lead for the Volibear. He's got his 2-item power spike with the Rift Maker there, so he's looking for some prolonged damage. Minuscule lead for the Kayn. 500 gold for the Xerath as well. And then we still have the lead is creeping down, but it is still a lead for the Varus. He's got about 800 gold difference in his pocket there. Although it does not actually equate into an item difference. Or actually, never mind. He makes me eat my hat. He just bought Terminus. So it is now an item lead. But yeah, and what we got for the next objective, we got the Baron is up now, and then we got 3 minutes and change for that the Ocean Drake, which will be, I believe,
sold for the Motorola, because obviously the dragons aren't quite showing through on this overlay.
Yeah, for some reason the overlay
the
bug.
APIs aren't behaving. But it is so point for Motorola. As we do see Luca, he's got a chunk before he goes in. The healing's there, not quite enough. Well, flashes out. That was a beautiful outplay. Will eventually get taken out though. I'm sure it was Krugs that killed him in the end. You know, Muscle Mom
they didn't get anything
away.
for it though. This is the problem though. So you mentioned earlier taking Soul Point for giving away the Atacon was maybe a valuable choice. But we're seeing with the Atacon up right now, look how much the Cuties are getting. You know, they didn't lose anything there. Like, Mr. Clisty didn't die. He just got sent back to base. He went on a 15-second death timer, and now they take, a turret, they got a kill. They actually, they have 3 kills now if you take into account the mid play, and they just beeline towards Baron. And it's now a 3k gold lead in their favor. You know, they're looking convincing now. It's kind of dangerous territory for the Motorola Esports. They're, you know, they're throwing their lead.
If they can get through this next segment, they'll stabilize. But while this Atacam buff is up, this is their most dangerous segment of the game. Because of this, because of the rebirths, because of the second light. Although we do see, I think it's already timed out.
Yeah, I believe it should be done by now because it is quite a short buff. It's only about a minute or so. I think it's like a minute and a half. So yeah, like 90 seconds.
But that's exactly it. They got what they could. Now the side of Motorola, they need to just relax. You were winning before. You have a clear win con. You let the Cuties start, go in and jump them. The good thing for them, the only turret they lost with the Atacam buff was a tier 2 in mid. All things considered, not great to lose it. It's not an inhib. It's not your Nexus. It's a tier 2 turret. Yeah, you lose a gold lead.
Yeah, I was gonna say what it does mean though is if they lose another fight around that mid lane and the Cuties have the push, their base is gone. So you know they need to be really careful about what fights they take. They can't take fights like this anymore. You know, unless they know they're gonna win them. Unless they know they're gonna win them, they can't take them anymore.
How did the Victor die there? There must be some
damage
kind
over
of
time
burn.
from yeah, I think there's some kind of burn. Maybe he had red buff. I'm not 100% sure. But he was on like single-digit health and then just ticked. And goddamn, we see that solo kill in the top lane there for the Kayn. Meanwhile, Karma goes down too. And this is this is where I think it's really difficult. Is if you're Motorola right now, the warning bells need to be ringing because you're kind of hemorrhaging things.
Thing is, I've seen mismatch come back from worse.
Yeah, I mean, he is still 60 CS up right now, and he is on his 3-item power spike. But Braille is caught again, man. This is brutal. Ultimate's gonna come up with the Xerath. They're gonna flash Q. He's gone. 1 and 5 right now on the not the Vladimir, Jesus, on the Blicter. But this team's falling apart, and Mr. Clisty again on this Volibear is just so rough. Mismatch gonna get killed. It's a triple kill in the top lane. They do get the shutdown here on perfect form.
He obviously heard us in between the pause. When we do see IE Videos getting almost shut down, but the healing is insane. The tower will still live in perfect form to try and escape, but not for long enough.
I don't know. Yeah, they don't commit. I was gonna say if they commit to killing Nah probably dies there, but they chose not to. So and now there we go. Like I said, if you lose a team fight in, you know, in and around mid lane and they have the push, you lose an inhib. And now it's 6.7k gold lead for the Cuties. And it's looking real rough because remember, like we said in draft, these guys have the late game, you know? Xerath is no pushover in the late game. And Tom on this Sivir, as he hits 3, 4, 5 items, he's going to be a monster. It's going to be impossible for them to try and push against him. He clears waves, he clears turrets like no man's business. We do see Perfect Form here trying to great escape his way out. Dodges a couple, but he still goes down. Can't quite get out there.
I mean, we've seen this gold lead go from being dead even to 7.5k in the space of 5 minutes. If that.
Yeah, again, the Cuties are just doing what they do. You know, they're doing what they do best. They team fight really well. And they know exactly who to target in certain situations. And we're seeing, they turn team fights into objectives, you know? Like, how many times have we seen in this tournament, they take a 4v4 skirmish while Turkey Flaps is on Diana, and even though he's not there, he's in a bot tier 2 and he's taking turrets and he's making stuff happen, you know, he's getting gold, even though his team are in the middle of a fight. And here we see again, Braille gets caught. The team are coming as well. You can see they take the dragon here completely free, and the Milio is coming to try and make sure the Volibear might be able to live. I don't think he's able to stop him dying here, unfortunately. But the pure commitment from the side of Motorola Esports, they sent everybody they had at him. They sent everything in the kitchen sink and still nearly didn't kill him. And then, you know, now the cavalry's here. They get a turret. They can scare Perfect Form away. He's going to have to base in no man's land. I mean, we literally see he gets chased all the way out here and still dies for his effort.
The map now. It's literally like in that 10 minutes we were paused, they almost heard us. And they're just going to take base.
They very clearly had a game plan here. And it's kind of looking over right now. If one member of Motorola Esports dies, and I'm keeping my eye on Braille because I have a feeling it might be him. Like, you know, it's all over.
I'm getting flashbacks here. I'm getting a deja vu moment here in this match.
Yeah.
So there's a famous video from this match where he never surrenders. In a fearless game. They literally were in this position, so far down, and they turn it around in one team fight in the base.
Oh, really?
And they go from,
I mean,
what looked like an unwinnable situation to be, they just turn the game. So they've got to be careful. Mismatch knows how to play defensive with his team.
We'll have to see how it goes. They are trying to make a turn on the Xerath here.
This is how you start it.
It's going to be a free kill here for sure. They cannot stop that. Get the shutdown onto the Victor. Hopefully getting him some more items will keep him alright.
Biggest part of that is look at what item Xerath has in his last slot on the right.
Oh, yeah, he just lost 5 stacks in the field.
10 stack.
Meanwhile, though, I mean, the whole team committed bot side, and they don't even seem aware right now that the Baron has been taken.
Look at that goal crap.
Yeah, it's looking rough, man. It is looking rough. We see, yeah, it's a 7k gold lead right now, man. It's kind of difficult, so we'll have to see how the next...
Literally up to that moment we paused, and then that snowball happened.
Yeah,
something doesn't happen to cause that pause, and it's just turned the game.
Well, from what I understand, actually, the game itself did not pause. It was a client bug on our like production.
The Juicy King get jumped on. Volibear's jumping in, and we do just see the Karma get blown up. They are forced to withdraw. Tom will fall. This is big. This is exactly what they need. Look at Will fall. That's 2. Question is, can they turn the king? Team's on the turret. It's blasting up. Mismatch looking to make that last stand. He will get a turn. Ivy holds his tank in. Mismatch doing everything he can. But unfortunately, the ace will come through. You might never surrender Mismatch. But unfortunately, your base will. And yeah, Perfect Form says 99. And the Cuties will make it to the rematch.